It's time for us to withdraw some our combat troops out of Iraq, deploy them here in Afghanistan, and I think we have to seize that opportunity. Now's the time for us to do it. The United States has to take a regional approach to the problem. Just as we can't be myopic and focus only on Iraq, we also can't think that we can solve the security problems here in Afghanistan without engaging the Pakistan government.
There are terrorists holed up in those mountains who murdered 3,000 Americans. If we have actionable intelligence about high-value terrorist targets and President Musharraf will not act, we will.
The verbal reaction was swift.
Pakistan, being a sovereign country, will never allow any other country to send troops to its territory for any purpose.
To another part of the world now, as US commanders in Afghanistan have admitted launching attacks across the border into Pakistan without having the permission of the government there to do it. On Saturday, coalition troops hit Taliban positions in Pakistan. They killed more than a dozen militants. Well, the coalition has now performed something of a U-turn by admitting that Pakistan's permission for the attacks hadn't been received at all.
The fragile relationship between the US and Pakistan may have suffered another blow. Pakistan's military has strongly condemned the US airstrike that killed 11 Pakistani soldiers on the border between their country and Afghanistan.
Pakistan Army soldiers were there on duty in Mohammed Agency when US personnel surrounded them and the tribe. They started firing on them and on us. So the Mohammed tribe and the Pakistan soldiers fought back. The US forces ran away. Then suddenly aircraft came and started bombing. That's why so many people were killed or injured.
But would you consider unilateral US action?
You know, I will push Pakistan very hard to make sure that we go after those training camps. But I don't think there's any doubt that that should be our policy, and will continue to be our policy.
But it is the current policy.
I believe it is the current policy.
So there's no change then?
I don't think there's going to be a change there.
The national intelligence estimates this week indicated that we are less safe. Al-Qaeda has regrouped. They are stronger than ever before. Let me tell you something. As President of the United States, I will spend all my days thinking about how to keep you safe. But part of how I'm going to do that is making sure that we're fighting on the right battlefields instead of the wrong battlefields. We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
No, I've always, a dictatorship would be a heck of a lot easier. There's no question about it.
And for the last 7 years, the administration has failed to face the biggest forces shaping this century. The emergence of Russia, China, and India as great powers. The spread of lethal weapons. We've once again seen the consequences of this neglect, with Russia challenging the very freedom of the new democratic country of Georgia. Barack and I will end that neglect. We will hold Russia accountable for its actions.
How do you use force? How do you justify it? How do you mobilize others to support you? How do you isolate your opponents? Those are also elements of power. We waged a variety of conflicts against the Soviet Union, but we always strove to maximize the number of supporters in order to isolate the opponent. I'm very much for the use of power.
I think Obama is clearly more effective and has the upper hand. He has a sense of what is historically relevant and what is needed from the United States in relationship to the world.
To Dr. Brzezinski, he has proven to be an outstanding friend and somebody who I've learned an immense amount from, and for him to support me in this campaign and then be willing to come out here to Iowa is a testimony to his generosity. So if everybody could please give Dr. Brzezinski another round of applause.